Welcome back to Careers with Miss V. Today we are welcoming Wael Bazzi, who is the Dean for the School of Engineering and the Professor of Computer Engineering at the American University in Dubai. Welcome, Wael. It's so great to have you with me today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Maria.
I have so many questions. Many students, young people, parents are always inquiring about engineering and careers in engineering. So we're definitely going to have a depth of conversation. But before we go into those details, I'd like to take you down memory lane. And when you were a younger student interested in maths, physics, and technology, I'm always really curious, what was the driving factor? What made you interested in these subjects?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Maria. Actually, yes, you took me years ago when I was probably in the seat of the students that today they are looking at possible alternatives for their studies. The time back then was a bit different. We didn't have that many opportunities and that much access to deans for schools, to professors, to advise us. At that time, I was driven by instinct. So I grew, I was a teenager, and then I noticed that I love really math, I love physics, I love sciences, and not only just math and physics. I want to do something with these math subjects and physics subjects. Then with a bit of search, I just discovered that the best discipline for that is engineering, which applies physics and science in order to solve problems and in order to make products. Then I had several opportunities, which kind of engineering. You know, there are plenty of disciplines, and mainly the classical ones. Electrical, computer, mechanical, and civil. And then I noticed I have a bit more passion toward programming, toward a system that integrates different aspects. And at that time, I chose to go through a Bachelor of Electrical and Computer Engineering. Nowadays, all of these disciplines are converging. And I'll give you some examples during our talk.
Fantastic. I really appreciate how you took us through that. It kind of put that picture in mind for a young person watching to understand that you don't just wake up an engineer. There's actually a thought process that goes into it. Did you have any role models when you were growing up? Was there an engineer in the family, or were you the first?
We are 3 engineers in the family. So definitely, I think in my subconscious mind or thinking, I'm sure I was probably guided by my elder brother. My elder brother, he is an engineer as well, electrical and computer engineering. And the next one was an engineer as well. So probably indirectly, I would say yes. But this was not only the single motive I stress. It's just something that, made me think about it. But we need more than this, not just a brother who studied engineering in order to do that.
And how different is it for you now being the Dean of School of Engineering? Is it different to when you were in industry?
It's, I would say it puts you in a place where you can shape how people learn. So in my current position, I look at what I studied before, and I look at what I wanted things to change at that time. And I'm privileged at this time that I can change. Many times you are in a certain position where you cannot change. You have aspirations, you have different, things that you feel they are going wrong, but then you don't have much control over it. Now I'm in control of, making things better for the students, making things better for the market, for the industry, by having students who join the school, not only learn theories and go to the market without any skill, but also supplementing them with skills in order to bridge the gap between theory and industry, which honestly I faced when I was a student. In the industry, we used to receive students. We used to receive engineers. In my current position, we make engineers. I enjoy making. We don't say engineers are definitely products. We make them not only in terms of their skills. We work on their psychology by supporting them, by getting the best out of them. So it's a combined package. So I'm privileged to have reached a really a satisfying level at this stage. It requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of patience, but I like it, and it's really rewarding for everyone.
That sounds very rewarding from my angle, in terms of when you look at the return on investment from an educator's perspective, is seeing happy, thriving young engineers going out and feeling really ready for that competitive world. Which brings me to my next question. Let's talk about the American University in Dubai and the School of Engineering. What makes this School of Engineering stand out above the rest?
Thank you, Maria. This is actually something very, very worth also putting some light on. I'll be a little bit informal, and just straight to the point. Whenever I teach a course, I start with the name. I tell students, for example, this is the title of the course, and the name reveals a lot. I would start by American University in Dubai by its name, American and Dubai. So these two words, wherever you go on the planet, these are two words that rhyme. American education or North American education. It doesn't have to be American. And Dubai. Dubai is a very well-known city wherever you go in the world. So the name helps us a lot, but the name by itself is not enough. Since joining AUD, the senior administration had a very strategic direction into supporting all of the schools on several fronts. The main fronts are just securing international accreditation for all of our programs, including the engineering programs. And I'm talking about international accreditation. I'm talking about the best accreditations. When we talk about engineering, for example, the American Board of Engineering and Technology. When we talk about other programs, there are similar bodies as well. Second, to just get top talents from all over the world to join us as faculty with a well-rounded experience in different disciplines. And the third strategic direction is definitely to provide an environment for students to grow. Sometimes I joke, I say we are farmers. We just provide an environment for the plant to grow, and we help the students to grow with us. Now, have we been successful? We look at the end results, at our alumni. What are they doing? What are their achievements? And I could probably list a couple of what our alumni will do. Because anyone who's listening to me now, okay, you're doing the best in everything and so on, but what's the results? So the alumni, definitely we have a wide range of alumni. I wouldn't say that every alumni is, the most renowned engineer in the world. Definitely not. There's a range. There are some of the top students in the class who graduate. They get accepted at top universities in the world for graduate studies, such as MIT, Princeton, and the list goes on and on. We have students who choose to go after their graduation to the West to maybe do a master's there and then join a company. We have students who are now senior managers at Google in the US. And there are some who struggle in the market, but eventually, even those students or graduates who struggle, we are surprised with their achievements after a few years of tough tough years in the market. We will continue to support our students in these directions in order just to maintain their success.
Brilliant. So it sounds like there's a real connection and a clear vision on watching those students further through their studies. So what I'm taking away is that AUD doesn't just educate the engineers, but it also ensures that moving them forward, that you keep in touch with your students. Now, looking back at your own secondary education and then the education that you went on, you did a bachelor's of engineering in electrical engineering. You went on, you did your master's of engineering in computer and communications engineering. And then you did a PhD in electrical and computer engineering as well. Now, for a young person listening to this, they might be wondering, is that what I have to do if I want to be an engineer? Do I need to go all the way up to a PhD? What would you say to a young person, and why did you choose to go and continue your education?
Thank you so much, Maria. Another great question, and it opens a lot of memories, Definitely not. Definitely a student who's now graduating from school, the path is very random these days. It's not preset. And I would advise any student to take it one step at a time and see what doors, what opportunities this open for them, and do a second degree as needed. So the minimum these days, definitely it's a bachelor degree. And I would advise any, a graduate from a high school who is interested in engineering just to pin down his interests or her interests in order to choose which engineering subject is important or is interesting for them, and then do a bachelor degree. A bachelor degree, again, I would advise a bachelor degree in a broad engineering discipline, such as electrical, computer, civil, or mechanical. Don't go too specific in a bachelor degree because it will limit your choices in the future. And then go to the market, work, and check where do you want to have more specific education, in which area. Maybe it's in management. You combine a bachelor with an MBA, a Master's of Business Administration. Maybe you did a mechanical engineering degree and you want to go and specialize in a specific field, such as aerospace engineering. Then you go and do a master's for 1 year. And this is, by the way, I'm borrowing this from the medical field. From the medical field, every physician has a Bachelor of Medicine or a doctorate of medicine, and then they do specialties, they do subspecialties. The same applies to engineering. At one time in your life, if you feel that you're interested in research, academic research, and following a career in educating engineers and in teaching engineers, then this will take you to the PhD path. Otherwise, I suggest, like I said at the beginning, take it one step at a time and see how life will guide you through and what are the needs at any specific point of time.
So I love that you're saying that, because it kind of releases the pressure that I see with young people, this idea that they need to know their specialty at 17 or 18 years old. And often we hear parents asking them to find that specialty. It's almost like if they don't know, they'll miss out on the opportunities. I like that you said, do your general degree, go out, try to get some experience, and then decide the area that you want to be going into. Do you think at that stage when they are doing a bachelor's degree that I know that you had your older brother and there were role models in the family, but for a young person that may not have it, is it important that they do get a mentor when they are studying at university? A mentor in engineering that could guide them, or will their mentor be that first opportunity of work?
Definitely a mentor will help a lot. And in many of the universities and colleges, including the School of Engineering, we have mentorship programs where senior students will guide the fresh students who join the program. This will help definitely a lot. Not to wait till they graduate. On top of that, during their studies, there are a couple of internship opportunities where during the studies they can go and work. The third one, I would stress again what you have just said. Yeah, there is no loss of opportunity. The world is changing. I will give you an example. We have a student who did civil engineering, who finished civil engineering at AUD. He was a top student. You know, at one time in his life, he thought of shifting disciplines. He went to the University of California at Berkeley, a top school in the world. He did 1 year master's degree in data science. And then now he's working at Facebook. Civil engineer, doing data science, and then working at Facebook. This combination could have been maybe years ago impossible. So the engineering disciplines are very adaptive. When you study a certain engineering disciplines, you are learning how to think. And you are free to move through careers like you want, with a little bit of upgrade in your skills in a certain discipline, like the example I gave to you.
I love it. Fantastic. Let's talk about some of the current trends in engineering and technology today. Data science. I like that you brought that in because that is always in the top 3, if not the top 1 for future careers. What are some of the current trends and the trends coming that young people thinking of engineering and technology should really focus on?
Very good. Again, you're touching on just the probably best subjects that one could touch on. I would summarize it. This is the age of technology and of smart technologies. So anything that relates to smart systems, AI, dealing with data, with big amounts of data, with technology, with information analysis. And I'm not limiting this to computer engineering or electrical engineering, because the applications of these domains are very wide in multiple disciplines. So we start to talk, for example, in civil engineering about smart construction, where smart construction management or smart construction. Last week, we had a visiting company who probably will cooperate with, and they are developing a robot that will automatically paint indoor environments. Mm-hmm. So when I talk about smart technologies or AI, it applies to multiple disciplines, although most world economic reports and similar reporting agencies and the current trend in the market, even our current admission trends, there is a bit of shift in the past couple of years on majors related to computer engineering and computer science. And this is not surprising, because people are following the world trends and all data that are coming from different economic forums. So anything that's related to technology.
Love it. Okay. Top 3 career tips: plan for the future, enjoy the present, work hard, train yourself to be patient. Why are these your top 3 tips?
Because this is the recipe for success. If you're not patient, then you cannot do things. If you don't work hard, then you will not be able to achieve. If you don't develop a long life learning ability or skills, then in a very rapidly changing world, you'll be out of the market, at one point of time. If you don't have interest to what you're studying or what you're working, then it will be not sustainable. You know, I can I can bear to work with something that I don't like maybe for a year, but not for a lifetime or for a career. So these are things, honestly, Maria, that I have learned. I have tried a lot of things over the years, but I learned that without these four things, it's very hard for someone to succeed or to achieve what he wants or she wants.
Wael, what a great conversation. We've learned so much. What is the unlearning that a young person has to do when they join the School of Engineering? Because I think sometimes high school, secondary students come in with a very fixed idea of how they used to be as a student and what they need to be as a university student. But we know, having come through the journey, sometimes you need to unlearn to be ready to learn. So what are some of the unlearning things that young people have to be prepared for?
Great. And this is what I tell my students in the class. I keep insisting on that. Always question. Don't take anything for granted. And this is what will help you innovate. If you see something operating in a certain fashion, ask why. Why not? Why it's not another way? How I can change this? How I can make it better? Never settle.
That's very interesting, because a secondary student is often called rebellious for questioning the system. So how do you help a young person at university feel comfortable doing that?
Encouraging them, telling them, you know what I tell my students, Maria? There is a group of students in my class. I'm explaining them a new material. Students tend to be, in a classroom by nature shy. They are afraid of answering, a certain question in a wrong way, or asking what they think it's a stupid question. In general, students, they come to the university, they are a little bit reluctant. I tell them, look, this is a new material. Don't be shy. You don't have to answer right. Sometimes I tell them, challenge me. Maybe I am mistaken. I tend to give the students this atmosphere where don't feel shy, be engaged. It's okay to answer wrong. This is a new material. You don't have to know it. And probably you have many other courses. You didn't have time to study this lecture. Even if you missed on something, you can ask. And this is what I told you at the beginning. We don't teach them only theories and material. We have to work on their psychology. Maria, when a student answers in order not to isolate the others, I tell the students that, well, the answer is correct. And I'm sure many of you were thinking in that direction, but maybe you didn't express, so that the students will not feel that there is only one star in the class and the rest are just marginalized. So it takes a lot of work on the psychology of students to help them show their skills and to help them be confident in expressing their ideas. And I think this is one of the major steps for them to innovate. And the university in that regards, nowadays we used to graduate students, now we graduate students and businesses. In the old days, we used to do projects, and then the project will end up being in a certain lab, with a lot of dust on it, and that's it, never used. Now we take it one more step ahead. If we feel that there is a group of students who have a very, really good idea that can be commercialized, the university has an incubation center where they will help them with business plans, with establishing a business license in Dubai in order to take their project to the market. So this is another just way to innovate and to cater to the interests of different students. Maybe some students, they don't want to work as employees when they finish. Maybe they have a bright idea that they want to commercialize.
It's actually becoming more common for young people, the idea of doing their own. Thank you so much, Wael. Really, really a rich conversation. We learned so much about you, about the School of Engineering at the American University in Dubai, and also about some of the trends in the industry. But we do have to bring it to a wrap. So I'm going to thank you for being with me here today and thank our audience for watching. We were speaking with Wael Bazzi, who is the Dean for the School of Engineering, and he's a professor of computer engineering, coming to us from the American University here in Dubai. Thank you for watching. This was Careers with Miss V, and I will see you at my next Careers interview.